Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
The jump, yes, he did. He gives it to Henry.
Quick snap. Breeze. Pass is incomplete. No flag.
4th and goal. And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Touchdown.
He's returned, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, I don't think you guys know what you're getting yourselves into today, especially if you didn't listen to our season preview. Oh man, if you guys just joined along this season, first of all, thank you very much. It's been a blast. I can't believe we're already 6 weeks past, and this week was just like the rest of them. It was crazy, and I still don't know what to think about the majority of the league, but AK has returned. Alex Kropp has come back, and it's time to talk some football. Alex, how are we doing today, my man?
Man, oh man, does it feel good to be back. I mean, I think I was mentioning something in our preview show that this moment in time when I was speaking, when I was in existence, was the happiest moment you'll be this NFL season, because there's no games been passed. Everything's in front of you. Everything's green. Everyone's 0-0. Everyone's tied at first for the standings. And 6 weeks later, I can confidently say I know marginally a bit about every single one of these teams. It still feels like we're in the preseason with some of these teams and still waiting for things to shake out. But, man, it has been a wild 6 weeks. And I just cannot wait for the rest of the season, what we got in store for us.
Ooh, and speaking of what we got in store for us, oh boy, do we have one hell of an episode we got for you guys all today, because not only is there someone that might actually be in the MVP conversation that not a lot of people are talking about. I mean, Derrick Henry, is it already safe to say that he's the greatest running back to ever play the game? I don't know. We'll have to talk about that one. I know Alex, one of his enemies, I guess, one of his biggest beefs and the longest running beef on this NFL series has been him and Chase Young. He has some words in his comeback here. Couple of coaches on the hot seat, Urban Meyer and Vic Fangio. Who will be out the door first? Also, are the Niners looking to make a trade to bolster their team and maybe give Trey Lance some help there? And of course, we're going to finish off with some power rankings and none other than the Nene of the week. But ladies and gentlemen, just a couple little things to take care of real quick. First things first, if you're watching on video, go ahead and take a look at the screen because we got new merch. Look at that. The brand new MMA merch has finally arrived. The Certified Banger Collection. You can get that now over at thefourthandlong.com/apparel. And not only, I mean, some pretty bitchin' tri-blend t-shirts. This stuff hardly shrinks. And the best part about it, especially if you're a guy like me, oh, you bet your butt that it hugs the arms tight. It's a good look. It's a real good look. And a couple things, a couple interviews in the past with Raymond Lawley and Jared, the Lean Mean Melton. They have their fights at Front Street Fights here this weekend on Saturday. It's going to be one hell of a show. I'll be posting all that stuff, so make sure to go follow our socials because people are going to be put to sleep that evening. I guarantee it. But go check out those interviews. You can, of course, find all that at thefourthandlong.com/MMA. But Alex, enough chit chat, enough dilly dally. Let's get into it because the first thing we didn't talk about is how I've been doing things all season. We're a positive show. We're power positivity. Let's start things off with a positive. And our biggest winners from Week 6 in the NFL season. The first one I got to give it to you, Alex. Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz there is a very good argument to make that he should be in the MVP conversation at this point in time because he's been putting some secretly good numbers. Let's talk about TDs to interceptions. How about a 9-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio on the season? It's only going to be bolstered because he has T.Y. Hilton back. T.Y. Hilton with 80 yards in a few big plays in his first game back here. Carson Wentz looking like the guy that almost won MVP back in 2017 and probably would have led his team to the Super Bowl. I mean, who knows? I mean, I guess that was just Big Dick Nick taking over that year, and who knows if Carson Wentz is still playing. But Carson Wentz, man, if you're not even a lot of people aren't even putting him near the MVP conversation, it's time to put some respect on his name and recognize what he's doing this season.
So, when I was thinking about the last 6 weeks about this glorious return back to the podcast, and just, how excited I am to talk about NFL. And the first thing that we talk about is a quarterback for the 2-4 Indianapolis Colts, Carson Wentz being in the MVP conversation. Look, I get it. You want to start this podcast off on a positive note. Carson Wentz is having an awesome year. 9-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He's not fumbling the ball. He's just not doing the things that got him in trouble in Philadelphia the first couple of years.
You mean like getting hit 1,000 times a game? You think that
getting drilled 1,000 times a game? Here's a couple things that I want to just pump the brakes on a little bit. This is the same quarterback that sprained not only one, but both ankles at the same time. How does that happen? First of all, that is not an MVP does not sprain both ankles. I think that's somewhere in the bylaws there. They're 2-4 in a horrible conference. They've the 2 wins they've had, but they've beat the Texans and they've beat the Dolphins. Is that their other win?
I think you got that one. Yeah, you got that.
So
right.
Here's what I'm wondering is Carson Wentz is and I feel like we're shifting more towards this, and this is kind of a bigger NFL wide kind of scheme. Is you have 2 different kinds of quarterbacks. You have a quarterback you can win with, and a quarterback that can win no matter what the other circumstances are. And then you have your Davis Mills, all those guys, just kind of placeholders a little bit. But Carson Wentz is a guy that you can win with. If you have a good offensive line, good defense, good running game, he's not going to win games by himself. He's not going to win games without weapons. He's not going to put up the stats like a Mahomes, Russ, Lamar. All those guys are just different because they can do it by themselves. Carson Wentz is playing situational football, not turning the ball over, but there is absolutely no way he's ever getting near the MVP conversation. He doesn't put up those kind of numbers anymore. That's not that type of offense. If he's putting up gaudy stats, I can pretty confidently say that the Colts are not winning football games, because if they draw up wins, they're leaning on Marlon Mack, leaning on Jonathan Taylor, that running game, not putting it in Carson Wentz's hands, having him throw the ball 50 times, which is the only way he's going to get those MVP type stats. So Carson Wentz, great job not turning the ball over. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on some of his stats, because I think they're just a little misleading in the fact that he's got such a high turnover or TD to interception ratio.
Well, if we need to talk about maybe pumping the brakes on this, maybe not. What about CeeDee Lamb as my second winner here? Because, I mean, winner of the week, because he has a fat game against the Patriots. And by fat, I mean he not only gets a game winner, but he also has 9 catches and about 150 yards and another touchdown in this game. And best of all, the real reason he won is because he was able to hit that little wave and a smile to the Patriots defenders, but he didn't get penalized because it was after the game. You can't get penalized once the clock hits 0, at least in terms of this unsportsmanlike conduct.
Did you see people were trying to say that they should have called him for taunting during the play and that touchdown shouldn't have counted?
Shut up, please. Also, what about the NFL Twitter account posting that video and then deleting it?
Oh, boy. I love the NFL.
Bring back taunting. I already had that rant a few weeks back, but, you already know all my opinions. I'm sure you can just assume that's same for Alex as well, because, I mean, come on, man. Come on.
CeeDee Lamb, though, it looks different with certain guys, and with CeeDee Lamb, it looks different. The types of routes he's running, it's just the degree of separation he's getting in such tight spots. And that fade, that goal line fade that he threw, I think it was the first half on Jalen Mills. It's just the amount of touch that Dak has to put on that ball. And the fact that you have 10 yards to work with, they're on the goal line. Mm-hmm. He has to get a crazy release, separation, get both of his feet in, and give Dak enough room to give him the ball. Just the footwork he has is nuts. His releases are crazy. Mm-hmm. His ability to start and stop is amazing. You saw on that touchdown play that was literally just a drag over the middle. That's breakaway speed. That's electric. He creates separation so well. His hands are incredible. Dak, I mean, I saw this stat from Dak, and I don't want to make this a bigger Cowboys thing, but in the fourth quarter and overtime, with the game tied or within 3 points, Dak has the highest QB rating among any quarterback in NFL history by 38 points.
Damn.
Number 1 is Dak at almost 150 QB rating, which is 8 points away from having a perfect passer rating in those situations.
Yeah.
Number two on that list was Vinny Testaverde with like a 111 or something like that. It's the stuff that Dak is doing right now is crazy, and him and CD together, I don't see how a defense can scheme up against CeeDee Lamb, because you have Amari Cooper on the outside. You have Zeke Elliott you have to worry about. CD can run routes from the outside, single set, slot, third guy. He can do stuff out of the backfield. He's incredible. I think Kellen Moore does a great job unlocking him, and I don't see CeeDee Lamb slowing down at all this year.
Hey, what about CeeDee Lamb? Because that's one of the crazy things. You mentioned Amari Cooper. Before the season, Amari Cooper was that guy with the Cowboys last year, while CeeDee Lamb still had a very solid rookie season. A lot of people thought it was going to be the same, where Amari Cooper was going to be that guy. Amari Cooper is still one of the best wide receivers in the league. He's very, very talented. But CeeDee Lamb, he fully took over wide receiver 1 in Dallas right now. He's making Amari Cooper look almost average at times, and that's not a knock on Cooper. CeeDee Lamb has just been blowing this year out of the water. He's looked fantastic. He's already up to about 500 yards on the season through 6 weeks. And he's looking good. He has a touchdown almost every game. He has 4 on the season. The Cowboys are looking lethal. But that's only on the offense. The defense is garbage except for Diggs. Diggs is by far.
Here's the thing with the Cowboys is that, and first off, on the Amari Cooper comment, he's having a good season. He's playing well, like you're saying.
Overshadowed.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is they complement each other so well, because Amari Cooper is a through and through X receiver. He's going to play outside. He's going to run 9 routes. He's going to run slants. He's going to run deep comebacks, deep curls. He's going to run all of those outside breaking route trees. CeeDee Lamb, that gives him the ability to go same side as Amari Cooper, run all his complementary routes from the slot. He can go opposite side of Amari Cooper, run the same routes that Amari's doing on the other side. He can do whatever he wants to do, because they have that X receiver, that dominant alpha, always in there with Amari. And when Gallup comes back, it even opens up CeeDee Lamb to do even more. But when you look at the Cowboys defense, and in my eyes, it is impossible to have an offense like the Chiefs, an offense like the Cowboys, an offense like the Chargers, where they just put up points at such an efficient clip. It's just impossible for me to have a defense on the other side that is going to, grind teams out, limit teams to 10, 14 points. That's just not the kind of defense they have. But what the Cowboys do have is they have a couple dynamic, game-changing playmakers at each level that can flip momentum and give that offense just that little added boost that the Cowboys need. And that offense does not need a lot for them to be able to flip the script on him. But when you have Diggs in the secondary, Micah Parsons is a problem. He is extremely athletic. He's a playmaker at that position. Randy Gregory.
Well, what's crazy right now, the Cowboys not only have the defensive player of the year right now in Trayvon Diggs, they have the defensive rookie of the year in Micah Parsons.
Crazy. Yeah. But they just have playmakers.
But it's weird how they have those 2 stars. Their defense in terms of yardage and points isn't great, but in terms of turnovers, which is kind of what you mentioned there, it's all about possession and getting the ball back to the offense. And was Diggs in that defense do well? Turnovers. They give up points, but they're able to give their offense a lot more opportunities. And man, I guess watch out for are the Cowboys back?
Cowboys are way back.
Man, if only you made your Cowboys take, or if only this Cowboys team was here last year when you made your take about them.
Dude, I told you the Cowboys take, it was good.
Dak
Dak got hurt. I was just a year early. It's literally the same exact take from last year. The only thing they did different was Trayvon Diggs is now the second coming of Deion Sanders, and they added Micah Parsons. So it just added a little extra fuel to it. But it was the same take as last year. They just have Dak with 2 good ankles.
It's too perfect for you. But let's get into a couple losers here. First one, let's talk about how the Dolphins look like playoff contenders. Now they've lost 5 straight, and Tua might be losing this team. Of course, they've had close games. They gave the Jags their first win of the season in London, and then they got handled by the Colts. Obviously, got blown out by the Bucs. They lost in overtime to the Raiders, and then they got beat pretty damn bad by the Bills. 35-0 is it's not great. It's not great.
That's
so
stomping.
they were looking like playoff contenders before the season. Now they're doing this, but also I think my biggest winner or loser really might be the Bears or the Bears fans, especially if you saw the Wikipedia page after this. You want to know who owns Chicago? Aaron Rodgers. And I think that might have been my favorite moment of the one of my favorite moments of the season so far, because I was watching this game.
Sure.
I was watching the game live. I mean, you saw that real slow and elongated discount double check first of all, which was great. Not only he had the speed to get to the pylon too. Aaron Rodgers looked a little scamper there, but then we learned why he gets a double bird from a Bears fan, and he goes, "I own you." I love this, and I need more of this in my football.
The funniest part of this whole thing, and I'm sure this was on Red Zone. Everything was shown on this. Is you can pick up every single part of his audio from the actual, from the broadcast. It's like you're watching it and you see him kind of scamper in, and I forget who it was on the Bears, but they have that little, I know he's going in, but I'm still going to give him a little push shot right as he crosses the goal line, and right as he gets up, I mean, it was like a visceral Aaron Rodgers, and he was just, you can hear it he's like, "I own you. I still own you. I've always owned you." And it's like, as a Bears fan, you're looking at it and like, I know it. Everybody in their right mind knows it. I think he's like 23-5 or something against the Bears. And it's just one of those things that it could have gone without saying if you're a Bears fan.
It's like, man, we know. You don't need to rub it in our face.
Ever. You're just like, it's stomping on like the sad bug that's already like lost its head. It's like, we don't need to stomp on it again too, and then bring all their friends and show them that we stomped on them. We don't need that. But
I see nothing wrong with it too. There are too many people getting mad about this. Like, hey, especially awesome. I'd even care. Like, even if he didn't get flipped off, I would have hoped he'd done this because it's fun. This is the whole thing about taunting. It's fun to hear trash talking. And see, Aaron Rodgers normally doesn't really do this kind of stuff.
Here's one thing is what I'll give to Aaron Rodgers is, I don't care what your stance is on taunting or, trash talk in general. Aaron Rodgers deserved this one. He earned it.
Yes.
he's put in 14 years of owning the Chicago Bears. I think he deserves one little outburst. So
at least,
yeah.
Hats off to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's my stance on Aaron Rodgers. I'm okay with it. I loved it. Absolutely. If you're a Bears fan, that might have been a good time to mute the TV.
Or just turn the game off at that point, because it was already over. Ooh, but those are our winners and losers. And before we get into our, overreactions and a little bit of buy or sell, go ahead and feel free to reach out to us over on socials. That's Twitter at Fourth Long Radio, Instagram at Fourth Long Radio, or of course you can just find everything over at thefourthandlong.com. Reach out to us. Let us know who you think won and lost this week. And let's see, does Carson Wentz belong in MVP in just terms of MVP talk? And I could probably just sense Alex shaking his head too. And who owns the Bears, and what did you think about Aaron Rodgers? Because I thought it was fantastic. I really hope you did too. But Alex, it's about that time. Let's buy or sell some possible overreactions here. Of course, this week we got. Normally I've been doing 3. I have an extra 4th one just because Alex is here, and I gotta throw him a little bit of a bone here because this is gonna be a good time. I can always see the smile on his face, but. Of course, I have statements that at least seem to be overreactions. We're going to say if they actually are or not. And if they are, we're going to sell it. If they're not actually an overreaction, we're going to buy it. And my first statement, kind of like I hinted at when we started this thing off, Alex. Derrick Henry is the best running back that the NFL has ever seen. Buy or sell?
So I'm gonna have to get into a couple semantics or technicalities on this one here. So
bring it.
I'm going to buy that Derrick Henry is the best runner of all time. I do not think he is the best running back of all time. I think there's probably a couple people that have that title above him, but as just a pure runner of the football. And if you think about just the running game in general, when you're thinking about an NFL offense, having someone like Derrick Henry is an absolute game changer because he not only has the breakaway speed, the home run hitting ability, just that every single time you give him the ball, he can score from anywhere on the field, except maybe the goal line, which, we'll talk about that. I don't think he's the best goal line back, but just from everywhere on the field, he is a dangerous weapon. But not only that, he's going to be able to chunk for 5 or 6 all the way down the field. He's not going to, try to get outside like how Chris Johnson kind of got, in trouble. And funny enough, both these guys that are running for 2K are both in Tennessee Titan uniforms, but they do it very different ways. You can give the ball to Derrick Henry 30 times a game and he'll grind out 5-6 yards every play, or he can go and try to run the big play. And something that he's adding to his game this year more than ever is he's actually catching the ball this year. And I thought that was just a massive way that they were underutilizing him, is just putting it in the outside, and just, he's so dangerous in the open field. And if you put him one-on-one with anyone, he's not always going to be able to juke around them and be able to, break tackles and make people miss like other people would. But if you get him downhill with any sort of speed, any sort of inertia, it's going to take 3 or 4 guys to bring him down. So when you get him barreling down in the outside on a screen or anything like that on second, third level guys, he's so dangerous. So I think they're starting to use him better as a catcher of the ball, but I think it might be a little too early. I mean, if he does this for 5 or 6 more years, yeah, he's the best running back of all time, but I don't see it, that kind of wear and tear on his body. And I think other guys like Emmitt Smith and Barry and, I just think those guys did everything.
Yeah. I think in terms of historical running backs that we've seen, the closest comparison to Derrick Henry might be Adrian Peterson, but more. I hate saying more physical because that almost takes away from Adrian Peterson's physicality. That guy,
he's more violent than him, though. I think.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. He's more violent, and I just think the scariest thing, man. We saw his run. I think he topped out at about like 21 miles per hour against the Bills, against the Bills on Monday night. That is I think the fastest run of his career and the fastest run of any running back this season. But the thing is, man, no man that big, that powerful, that much of a tank should be able to move that fast.
No.
That's not human.
It's ridiculous. It's sickening, honestly.
It's scary. Just watching from my TV, I see this big dude break tackles and outrun defensive backs.
It's unhealthy to look at. I don't get it.
Derrick Henry is almost like what humans should aspire to be in terms of physicality. And he's a specimen, almost like in that MMA world, like compared to Francis Ngannou, a specimen, just perfect humans. Derrick Henry can do everything. He's nimble. He can make defenders miss. He can take a defender's face and shove him into the ground. We saw that last year with Josh Norman. He could outrun defensive backs. We saw that on Monday night and multiple other times. And like you said, Alex, he's been brought to the pass game as well, which is even more unfair. Because at least he was semi one-dimensional last year. He would just run the football. Of course, you can't stop him when he's running the football, but now you got to worry about him in the run game and the pass game. I think there should be a rule against the Titans passing him the ball. I think that should be like a 5-yard penalty at the least. He just does everything so damn well, and it might be controversial, Alex, because, knock on wood, because, the thing about Derrick Henry, he's longevity. He looks great right now, like the other great running backs in the league. Alvin Kamara has been out for periods of time. Christian McCaffrey out for periods of time. Dalvin Cook out for periods of time. The thing about Derrick Henry is that he doesn't miss a snap, man. He's in there. Right now, he's on pace for 2,210 rushing yards on the year. He's averaging 130 a game. He puts team on his back. He might be the MVP of the year of the season so far. I'm just going to say it. He's the greatest running back of all time. It might be preemptive. It's definitely preemptive. But man,
I like it though.
It might be, and also I'll throw in. There's also a thing. I'm a little younger. I did not see like the greatest running back. Two greatest running backs I got to watch live were LaDainian Tomlinson. Oh, so damn good. Those dark blue Chargers uniforms in Qualcomm. I won't forget those. And then Adrian Peterson. I wasn't there for Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, Jim Brown, but I will. Derrick Henry's the best. I'm just going to go on and say I am full on buying this, Alex.
I don't hate it. I really don't. I mean, again, he's probably the best pure runner of the football we've ever seen.
Now, the next one is that, buy or sell this, especially after their blowout win against the Chargers in Week 6, the Ravens, and also the Bills' loss on Monday Night Football. The Ravens are currently the team to beat in the AFC.
See, here's the problem with the Ravens is they are so matchup dependent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Chargers, I think, were the absolute worst matchup or the Ravens are the worst matchup for the Chargers than in anyone else in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
Browns were close up there, but the Ravens they do so much in the run game that if you don't have 7-8 guys committed to the box every single time, you're just not going to be able to stop them. They have too many different looks. They are too dynamic in the run game. I still think that the Bills match up well with the Ravens. I think they're the best team in the AFC. And no, the Bills to me are the best team in the AFC. I think they're more multiple. I think they can beat you, with the grind out, give the ball to Singletary and Moss and try to win the game 20-13, or they can get in an absolute shootout and outscore you. And the Ravens, we've seen them outscore people in the past. We've seen them get into shootouts, but I still do not trust Lamar Jackson having to throw the ball in those pass specific situations. Mm-hmm. And I just have more trust in the Bills as a complete team and a complete offense. And Josh Allen to me does more than what Lamar Jackson can do, especially in the fourth quarter of a playoff game, which I think is going to be what it comes down to with these top teams is we both know that they're good, but if you can't come down and lead a touchdown drive to win the game or to tie the game to send it to overtime, you're not going to be a successful playoff quarterback. And I think Josh Allen has it in him. I don't know if Lamar does.
Man, the Ravens are such a good football team in flashes. In flashes, they are right up there with the greatest show on turf, in terms of offensive output, what Lamar Jackson has been doing in flashes at least. He's made some really solid passes this year. He's been a good thrower. I think the whole thing for the Ravens is consistency. I haven't seen enough in them yet in terms of consistent play. I've seen a couple breakout games for them. I mean, Broncos, obviously Chargers. Alex, you point out it is a real bad matchup for the Chargers. Broncos just not a good football team. I don't like.
Sorry, but they're just not.
I've accepted it, and we'll get to Vic Fangio here in just a few minutes. Oh man, but I still think if as long as the Bills aren't playing Derrick Henry, which they normally, I think was since 2019. 67% of the Bills' losses had come from the Titans and the Chiefs. So, and the Bills...
What?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yes. Derrick Henry and Patrick Mahomes. You don't have to worry about Patrick Mahomes this year. You only have to worry about Derrick Henry. So as long as you're not playing...
That's crazy.
It's a weird stat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but as long as the Bills aren't playing Derrick Henry, they are the best team in football. I still haven't seen enough in the Cardinals. I mean, I love the Cardinals. I am almost fully sold on the Cardinals. I'm just like, someone not there yet. Someone not there. Just need to see a little bit more, obviously, because the Cardinals have always, been a really good team. Now they've been showing the best consistency we've seen for a while because they're 6-0. That's pretty damn consistent, and they're normally routing people. I'm just not buying I'm not buying the Ravens yet. I'm not buying their defense completely. The only thing I buy on the Ravens right now is the run game. Because it's a damn good run game. It's the best in the league. That's all you're going to put your money on right now. The Ravens definitely have the ability to be the best team in the AFC. Not sure if they're there yet. But it's not necessarily a knock, so I'm going to sell this statement. But it's not a knock on the Ravens. I think that's safe to say. And maybe on the flip side of this coin, especially of this game, let's go with the next statement with the Chargers, or the biggest frauds in the NFL. buy or sell?
I sell this 100% of the time. I think there's a couple. I think there's a couple things that about the Chargers that just give them these huge, potential letdown spots. And I think the biggest one is you can probably see it if you're watching the games, but Brandon Staley is uber aggressive going for it on 4th down. He is very into analytics.
I do love, man. I love some of his
he
play
is.
calls.
And here's the thing is I love that about the Chargers. I think the numbers bear out. I think, sticking to analytics blindly is a dumb move, but I think ignoring it also is super counterintuitive.
At
but
Joe Judge.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But like the Chargers specifically, they went for it on 4th and 2, 4th and 1 in their own 35 and under twice in the first half. Didn't get both of them. And they're chasing their tail the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they are so aggressive on some of these calls. I mean, they're going for it 3, 4, 5 times a game on 4th down. If they have one game where all of those go the other way and it's just that whole negative end of the spectrum, they're going to have games like this. They're going to have stinkers. And they are one of those teams at the end of the game and at the second half, they're not going for that, last second, let's get a field goal, make the scoreboard look a little better. Mm-hmm. They're just going to keep continuing to try to win the game and win the game and win the game. And it's going to look 34-6 sometimes. So I think they're definitely not frauds. Like I said, bad matchup for them. They invite teams to run the ball and want teams to keep doing that down the field. And the Ravens and the Browns are two of those teams that can do that. And you saw their defense get eaten alive the last 2 weeks. And I think when they start going up against more statuesque quarterbacks and more teams that are geared towards the pass, you're going to start to see those first 3-4 weeks Chargers defense come back out again. But they're definitely not frauds. They have a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. They have a top 5 I'm not going to say that, actually. I think he can be a top 5 coach in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I really like Brandon Staley, but they're definitely not frauds. They just hit a bad matchup.
I think so, too. I mean, overall, what we've seen from them is a good game, a good Week 1 game against Washington football team. They played the Chiefs very well, holding that offense to only 24 points, one of their lowest marks on the season. The Cowboys only put up 20 on them. Chargers almost beat them, but that was a real solid game, too. They outscored everyone and when they were going against the Browns. They showed a good defensive performance against Raiders. We're talking about that pass rush. That pass rush ruined Derrick Henry that night. And it gave Derrick Henry, it kind of derailed what was looking like an MVP season, or at least an MVP caliber season.
And one thing, it's that same Las Vegas Raider team that beat the Ravens Week 1.
Yeah.
Same exact team. Let's just think about that, just how matchup based the NFL is.
Well, let's talk about how weird that game was, too. Oh, that was for the first Monday Night Football game of the year.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering.
Very strange. I mean, how about Week 1 with the Steelers beating the Bills? Again, the NFL is so variable week to week, but at the end of 17 games, the best teams are going to come out the best teams. That's just how it works.
Well, at least typically. If not, they'll be.
You always have the Bears sneak in.
Oh, don't even remind me. The Cardinals better not find a way to ruin it for the rest of the league and let the Bears in this year in some sort of freaky fashion, the way things are looking right now. No, but I'm, like you, selling this statement. The Chargers are still a really good football team, and they're still probably going to be the AFC West champion this year. And so, I think that's a safe bet at this point of the season, at least. Now, the last one is one I just put in here especially for Alex, and that is Chase Young is still overrated.
I mean, I'm
selling
actually,
it, right? You're selling it.
I'm surprisingly going to sell this, dude. No, of course not, dude. what have I been talking about? Here's the biggest issue I have with Chase Young, and I'm going to need everyone to give me this one right now. Just give me a moment. I'm going to get into it. Biggest issues I have is before Chase Young stepped foot on the NFL is he had that personality that he kind of has that JJ Watt personality where it's like, oh, everything's so serious. Like I'm the most I'm dedicated. Like all I do is train and like everyone follows me and I'm like this great leader. Like he just anoints himself that day one. They put him on every single media campaign. They just anointed him this pass rush king. And I think a couple things were wrong with that is he is an extremely athletic player. He is so twitchy. And for a defensive end, he's got athleticism that guys that are linebackers would dream to have. But the problem with Chase Young is he is so one-dimensional in his pass rush moves that he gets eaten alive by big, strong, burly left tackles. And we saw it week 1 with Rashawn Slater. Ate his lunch in Rashawn Slater's first start as an NFL left tackle. Ate his lunch. 0 pressure, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits. And again, this is the same Chase Young, had 0 sacks through the first 4 weeks of the NFL. This guy is, again, crazy athletic, but he doesn't have the variable multiple moves that make an elite pass rusher like a Joey Bosa, like a Nick Bosa, like or even like a Robert Quinn this year is having that kind of season. But you need something more. He needs to get stronger. He needs to get better with his hands. He needs to have more of an impact in the run game to be this all-encompassing Chase Young super defensive end that everyone anointed him as. But at this point right now, he is a good pass rusher with elite speed and the ability to make game-changing plays because of that elite speed, but he is not an elite pass rusher. And that is, I still think, a year away if he gets stronger and he gets better with his hands. But I've just seen too many times offensive tackles just completely own him for multiple stretches of the time and just being able to get, single blocked and taken out of the game essentially. So yeah, he's definitely still overrated. That's one of the takes where I'm going to have to see him get a significant change and add those kind of pass rush moves for me to change that tone. But I think he's just too undersized right now.
Also, PSA, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Overrated does not mean bad.
Nope.
It doesn't.
Nope.
It doesn't. You could be the greatest player in the world, and you could still be overrated. That's just how it works.
I said that all last year too. Like everyone thought that I hate Chase Young. No, Chase Young's a good player. He's just not an elite pass rusher, which everyone anointed him as last year.
Them's the facts.
That's it. That's it. Thank you. I rest my case.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hands off to Alex. And like I said, the longest running beef in probably not even just NFL, so just in fourth and long history. It's fantastic. And
I should probably tell Chase Young we have a beef. I don't think he knows.
Yes, Alex, go fight Chase Young, please. And let me know, because I'll get it on video.
Well, you might have a new co-host.
Oh, well, it's okay. You can record from a wheelchair, right? You won't be able to look away from the camera too in that neck brace. It's just straight. It's
no, I'll be locked in.
Oh man, but that's going to do it for our bar sell segment this week, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know, is Derrick Henry the best quarterback or the best running back? Well, I mean, you put the ball in his hands, he probably could be the best quarterback in the league right now. I mean, who's taking him down? But is Derrick Henry the best running back of all time? Are the Ravens the best team in the AFC? Are the Chargers absolute frauds? And is Chase Young still overrated? But one of the last things, a couple more things to go here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into a couple storylines here. And this is always some fun stuff to talk about. Got a couple good ones here this week as well. I mean, per usual, but you know. So a couple coaches are on the hot seat. I mean, more than a couple, but a couple that we're going to focus in specifically here. A couple of coaches on the hot seat. Urban Meyer and Vic Fangio. Throw it back to our week 1 breakdown here. Now, I said that Urban Meyer is not going to be coaching by after the bye week. He's going to be fired at or before the bye week. I said they were going to go 0-7. They got a gift with the Dolphins. Now they're just going to go 1-6. Urban Meyer, he's a fraud. He's fake. Crap head coach. Saw us coming all the way. And it doesn't help that he has those off the field issues as well.
Antics, as some may call it.
Dude, I don't.
Not a good look.
I don't even know. At least Vic Fangio doesn't do that stuff off the field. He's just crap on the field. I guess him and that entire Broncos coaching staff, all the way from Pat Shurmur, having so much talent on the offensive side of the football, but having no idea how to use it. You got Javonte Williams, who could be Offensive Rookie of the Year because he's busted plays for. He's almost like around 6 yards a carry. But he runs the ball like 5-6 times a game. Doesn't make sense. So he has that. He has McMahon, who is the worst special teams coordinator in all of the NFL. I mean, the Broncos were top 5 or one of the best teams in offense and defense in the first 3 weeks of the NFL season. They're not anymore, but they were the worst team in special teams. The Broncos haven't done anything. They have so much talent, and they ruin it here. Where on the other hand, the Jags, they have talent, not nearly as much, but also Urban Meyer is ruining one of the greatest quarterback prospects in NFL history. So both teams right now, Broncos, they're reeling right now. They won their first 3 against bad teams. Now they've lost 3 straight. Jags got their first win of the season. They ended a 20-game losing streak. I mean, most of that Urban Meyer was not a part of. But who deserves to be fired first here, Alex, and who will be fired first, too? Possibly 2 different questions there.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone can see that Urban Meyer thing is just not going to work out. I think everyone's just kind of waiting to figure out when he's going to get fired. I mean, it's going to end up being one of those mutual separation type of things. But
we've decided that's in the best interest of Urban Meyer and the Jaguars to and send him to USC, right?
Yeah, really just a swing.
Well, what's going to happen first? Is he going to get fired? Are they going to part ways, or is he going to fake another heart problem and leave?
Well, the first one was, what did he call it? He said a brain aneurysm, which
that sounds really bad.
Well, as working in the cardiovascular space right now, an aneurysm,
we have an expert.
Is not something you want to have going on in your brain, and it's also not something that just goes away. So
here we go, Alex. Not only do you know everything when it comes to football, this guy works in the medical field when it comes to this stuff. We have an expert, or at least maybe so we don't get sued or anything.
I'm no expert. Pro football doc. But I could tell you about some blood.
Hey, Alex, if you're doing that right now, you better show up next show in a lab coat and with a stethoscope around your neck. Okay.
I'll make sure to have some proper accessories.
Hey, we've seen you in your scrubs before. Not a bad.
You have. It's sometimes some say it's professional, but someone who's not professional is Urban effing Meyer, and this guy he's on a one-way ticket out of there. I think we all know that. The bigger thing is Vic Fangio, and so here's the problem I have with Vic Fangio, and I think this is kind of maybe a common sentiment with a couple other guys that are in a similar position to him, but I think he's probably, if not the best defensive coordinator that we have in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And some of those guys are great coordinators, not good coaches. I don't think Vic Fangio has a grasp of what a head coach is. I don't think he knows what he's doing out there. He still doesn't know what he's doing out there. His clock management isn't great. He doesn't clearly know how to hire an offensive coordinator. Coach Shermer is just not the guy to get it done.
He doesn't know what a challengeable play looks like.
No. So he's got a couple issues going on. One thing that I think he's got going for him is he had those first 3 weeks. And so people look at him as the 3-0 coach. They had some momentum. They might lose the next 5 games that they play after the first 3 weeks, but I don't have a feel for him as being on the hot seat or not, because he's such a good defensive coordinator, and I know that he'll get a new job. He's not a bad coach, whereas Urban Meyer, I think, is a bad coach. And so they're in 2 different spots. I think Urban will go before, but you kind of have your pulse on the Broncos situation. I don't have a good enough feel for if the team is around him. I don't know. I just don't see him as a guy that is going to lose the locker room. And he's not very, he doesn't give you media sound bites. He doesn't really make any glaring headlines or anything like that. So it's just going to be like a kind of a bleed out situation for Coach Fangio. And I see him probably getting fired at the end of the year, not a middle of the year kind of guy.
Yeah. I see if the Broncos keep this up, I'm almost like, I've been able to mellow out a little bit since Sunday. On Sunday, I was like, fire everyone. Screw this whole coaching staff. Get them the hell out of here. Right now, I'm like, probably fire the whole coaching staff, but let's give it maybe a couple more weeks. Maybe wait till the end of the season, because especially GM George Patton, this is his first year with the Broncos. I don't think he's going to fire a head coach halfway through the season in his first year with the team. But
because he doesn't need to, right? I mean,
No.
it gives him some extra leeway.
Yeah, exactly. But also at the other side of the coin, Alex, if he went out there, he made a clear statement, we're not going to stand for this kind of performance, he's out. That could also make one hell of a statement moving forward with his tenure with the Broncos. So, I'm kind of torn. I think more than likely they'll part ways at the end of the season. I love it. Vic Fangio, the Broncos had a couple of these guys, two great defensive coordinators, but awful head coaches. The one they had before Vic Fangio was the guy that helped them win the Super Bowl, Wade Phillips.
John Fox. Oh.
And John Fox too, yeah.
John Fox, yeah.
John Fox didn't help them win the Super Bowl though. They got blown out in his remember Super Bowl 48.
Help him get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, help him get to the Super Bowl, and then Wade Phillips got them to win the Super Bowl. So,
here's one thing about that is in those string of coaches is I don't know if Vic Fangio is going to help them lead to a Super Bowl.
No, he's not. Also, even I'd probably prefer geriatric Peyton Manning because at least he knows how to lead a team. But no, I'm not trying to knock Tate Bridgewater. He was.
What if he had geriatric Peyton Manning with Drew Lock's arm and confidence? That would be a combo.
That's just 2013 Peyton Manning. What are you talking about? Oh, Peyton, come back, please, please, I beg you. Okay, but I think Urban Meyer is a way worse coach. He should never coach a football game again. Hell, even the Chip Kelly experiment is going better than the Urban Meyer experiment. And Chip Kelly sucked. He wasn't good. He was not good. And he's not even good
great
for
for
UCLA right now.
though, baby. Don't you dare talk bad about Chip Kelly.
Hey, I'll talk about it right now. What's UCLA doing this year besides beating LSU?
We were ranked twice. Excuse me.
Okay.
Sorry. We have a low bar with UCLA football here.
Vic Fangio, definitely going to make it longer. Hell, depending on if they're able to save the season, I wouldn't mind him being. I think the best case scenario probably won't happen if you're the Broncos because you don't really do this kind of stuff. Fire the entire coaching staff, bump Vic Fangio down to defensive coordinator, hire new people. Is that going to happen?
No.
Normally, you don't really fire everyone and then demote a head coach.
You can't demote the head coach to a coordinator position. That can't happen.
But that's
sick,
what I would
though.
like. And man, going from something to have a pulse on to maybe something you have a pulse on, resident 49er fan. One of those very secret things, those anonymous NFL executives had another anonymous NFL executive quote this week and kind of floated the idea that the Niners should trade Jimmy Garoppolo for Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, see,
I'm not sure if I like it.
I'll be honest with you. This is potentially one of the worst stories that I've ever seen ever break. Couple reasons here. First off, Odell is I've never seen a bigger drop off in talent than Odell's had in his career so far. He was so electric with the Giants that he just lost every bit of that explosiveness when he went to the Browns.
Even before the ACL.
I get that, but you've seen so many people come back from torn ACLs and have that same explosiveness. It's like it's part mental, it's part.
He was so before the injury, man. And now he's just. I'm lost on OBJ.
I know he's bad, and so
I don't think I've ever really bought into him fully as well.
No, I was never an Odell guy. I think he was. I mean,
good.
It's the same thing with Saquon. They're really good. They're super talented. They have that allure for a New York market, but they just don't have. The longevity is just so bad with those guys, and so that's the first point. I think Odell is just not a good receiver anymore. Second off, he doesn't fit at all what the Niners do on offense. They get catch and run guys. They get physical receivers. They don't get prima donnas. Their prima donna that they had, Brandon Ayuk, who's not a prima donna, but is their only guy that kind of fits that mold, got benched in the first year because he made some comments to Kyle Shanahan about not getting the ball during a practice. So I guarantee you he's not going to deal with Odell shit. So there's the second miss on that one. Third on is I don't think at this point trading any sort of asset away from the Niners without getting any draft capital back is in the cards, because we already don't have a first round pick next year. We already don't have we already lost our 6th round pick and our 7th round pick. So we have a very small asset already that we're working with. So we're not going to be trading Jimmy G when we could, probably if Gardner Minshew can get a 6th, then I'm sure Jimmy G around there can get at least some draft capital back. So if you're going to move on from
depending
Jimmy
on who you're
Garoppolo,
selling to, you might even be able to get a 2nd.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Carson Wentz got a freaking 1st, and we just went over. I mean, he's having
is OBJ at this point. So I would say that in most cases, Jimmy G is worth a 2nd round draft pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Odell
100%.
Beckham Jr. is not worth a 2nd round draft pick.
No,
he's worth that in name value. But if you actually look at his production, 3rd or below.
Yeah. And also, why would you? I don't think the 49ers can even take on that contract, right? I mean, I guess if they lost Jimmy G, they could take on that contract. But why would you want an aging receiver into a run-first offense that doesn't like prima donnas? Like it's just every part of this story from that random NFL exec is wrong. So
OBJ is not a Kyle Shanahan guy.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
No.
Like I was baffled by that story reporting, and it was just like, Odell, it's just everyone wants to do this. Like, who's a good team that's had injuries at a position? Who's a good player in a bad team in a bad situation that plays that same position? Oh, they should trade for each other. That's not how it works in the NFL. We don't trade in the NFL.
I already know what's going on with Jimmy G anyway. I kind of talked about this last week. He's going to be traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers this season for a 2nd round draft pick.
That would be awesome. I think that'd be a perfect fit. I'd love to have a 2nd round pick for Jimmy.
Hey, I don't know. If this anonymous executive has a job, I'm in the market. Who wants my resume? I'll send you my resume right now. Insert said team owner / GM into our DMs. I got you.
Do we know if that anonymous NFL executive was Odell Beckham Jr.?
Do we know if that anonymous NFL executive was not just a crackhead off the streets of San Francisco?
We don't know that.
We don't know that. But he's anonymous, so he can't. That's the cool thing. When you're anonymous, you can't catch flack for saying really stupid stuff like this.
Yeah, you can't do it.
It's like these anonymous sources. Are they real? Does Adam Schefter just pull stuff from a Magic 8-Ball? We'll never know.
Never have any way to track it.
It's unbelievable. Anonymous. The real conspiracy theory is Adam Schefter just consults. He has a Magic 8-Ball with Roger Goodell's face on it. But Roger Goodell with the clown nose version.
Did you just crack the NFL?
I need to lock my doors, man. I'm going to see black bands pull outside.
Hopefully this isn't a live stream.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, boy. If I'm not here for next week, you know why. Hey, Alex, I'll let you have my football stuff, okay?
Oh, boy.
You're going There's a lot of it, too. Oh, man, but that's just stupid. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going I don't get it, right?
It literally makes no sense. There's absolutely no way this happens. If
it does, I know how they got this idea, Alex. They got 2 hats, right? One with the player, one with the team.
Yeah.
And they just Odell Beckham Jr. 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo for Odell
Beckham
Jr.
Just came out of nowhere. Yeah, no, this isn't. I'm gonna break the story now that the Niners will not be trading Jimmy G for OBJ.
Oh, imagine if they do now.
If they do, Chase Young is also an All-Pro.
If they do, what about the 49ers trade for Odell Beckham Jr. and Chase Young?
3-team trade, and we give up. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna make a statement here on the podcast.
Official statement from Alex Gropp.
If the 49ers trade Jimmy Garoppolo to the Cleveland Browns for Odell Beckham Jr., I will not watch another game of NFL football for 2 years. There's literally no way that happens.
There's no way. I almost hope that this does now. Just
do you want to deprive me of that? I want your joy in this world.
Well, when you bag on the Broncos, I kind of do. Only I can bag on the Broncos.
I'm not bagging on the Broncos. The Broncos are writing all my material for me.
The Broncos just suck.
Correct.
At least they gave me a little bit of happiness. They gave me 3 weeks of hope, which is more than I've had in the last 2 seasons combined. And the last game I went to was when they blew out the Jets, and so I was, you know what?
Think of the happy memory.
Is what it is, man. I'm just going to focus on the good because there's way too much bad.
There you go.
For the last couple things, of course, ladies and gentlemen, power rankings, and then the nay of the week in week 7 power rankings from 5 to 1. Of course, I have moving down from the number 2 spot. So moving down 3 spots this week, the LA Chargers. Obviously, they didn't look great against Ravens. We've already talked about bad matchup. I still think they're a top 5 team here. I have them over the team that dropped out is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I still believe. I mean, them and Kansas City are really playing for it, but I said I'm sticking with my week 2 take is that the Chiefs are the most or the Bucks, are the most overrated team in the league. I'm sticking with that right now. I'm sticking with that. Also going back to it. Like we said, Alex, overrated doesn't mean bad. Overrated doesn't mean bad. But I got the Chargers there. Up at number 4, I have the other LA team staying put from where they were last week because they blow out the Giants, but they blow out the Giants. Okay, it's glorified scrimmage.
That sentence, they blew out the Giants, has been said before. I'm gonna go out there and guess. So I don't think you're breaking any novel news there.
It doesn't carry much weight. You know, like the Bills blew out the Chiefs. That means something.
Yeah.
The Rams blew out the Giants.
In the Meadowlands.
In New Jersey.
At MetLife.
They beat the New Jersey Giants.
Yeah. Doesn't have the same vigor to it.
It doesn't. You're right. Number 3, I have the Buffalo Bills being bumped down a spot here. And then because, I mean, they lost. The 2 teams above them won. The Bills could not stop Derrick Henry. I know no one else can. But if after a loss where really you should have won this game, I'm going to drop you a spot. Because the 2 teams above you are the Baltimore Ravens. Now, might be a bit of a hot one. I was really debating this. With myself. I was like, are they really number 2 on my power rankings? I'm putting them there because they beat the Rams. They beat the Chargers handily. They are coming off a win. Can't say that about the Bills. The Rams are kind of iffy. Not like they're still a real solid team. But you've seen a couple holes. I don't know. When the Ravens are on, they're on. Of course, that's our team. So I had them number 2, and of course number 1 staying there. They've been there for a while now. The only undefeated team in the league, the only 6-0 team, the Arizona Cardinals. Because no head coach, no play caller, no problem. Because their defense and offense are 2 of the best in the league, and that's that.
And I am very I'm very high on the Ravens. I think the Ravens are really good. I think the Bills are really good. I think from a power ranking standpoint, this is probably the only thing you can do. Bucks maybe can stay in there, but I think that the biggest nuance here is the AFC is going to be extremely fun because they're very, very top heavy, so and the NFC is still so spread out. I think one miss you have in here is I do think the Cowboys deserve to be in these power rankings.
Cowboys over Chargers?
I think the Cowboys over the Chargers. I think that in the NFC, there's not a ton of top tier teams in there. I think when you have the teams like the Cardinals, Rams, Bucks, and Cowboys, I think those you throw in the Packers there, those are probably the 5 teams that I can see winning the Super Bowl. And none of those 5 teams give me confidence. And when I look on the flip side, when I go to the AFC side, very confident in the Bills and confident in the Ravens still. And so it's one of those things where the Cowboys, I think just because of the NFC, it's wide open this year and they have a chance to do some damage. So I think they should be in here, but Cardinals, until they lose, they're going to be the top spot. That was a freaking really impressive win on the road in Cleveland. No Cliff Kingsbury. no Steve Keim. They lost their general manager. They couldn't make all the different roster moves before the game. No, that means absolutely nothing. But I just think it's funny that they had that as a headline that the Cardinals GM is going to miss the game. It's like
That's so big.
Anyways.
Breaking news. More important than Kyler Murray.
But it's still, man. I mean, like, you have COVID issues. You throw a wrench in your planning with Kingsbury being out, and they had a couple other coaches out too. You lost Max Williams before the game, didn't have Zach Ertz for the game, so you're down a weapon, and you blow out the Browns. You stomp them, and your defense looked incredible during that. So it's just it was a very impressive win by the Cardinals, and while I don't have confidence in them in the playoffs yet, they're rolling this year, and they're number one spot until they lose.
You know, Cowboys over Chargers, I could easily see that. You know, I really think it might be 5A and 5B right there. In terms,
and I mean, it's probably my fault for being a Cowboys stan, but their offense
and the Cowboys did beat the Chargers this season.
Okay, and this might not be received well, but I think the Cowboys and the Chiefs still have the two best offenses in the NFL, and if you give me two teams that I would want to see in a game, Cowboys Chiefs would be so freaking fun to watch. That's
only if you don't like football. If you like defense, if you like defense, hide your eyes, man. It's not gonna be pretty. One thing about the Cardinals,
so nasty.
I am excited to see the Cardinals already have one of the best receiving cores in the league with Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green having a bit of a reemergence here. Now they're adding Zach Ertz. I'm really
excited. Chase Edmonds is a problem out of the backfield.
Yes,
too.
he is. Dude, that team is a passing. I am really excited to see what they do with Zach Ertz. He could be.
He's been playing. He was playing well the first couple of weeks. I mean, I know he had
a great game in week 6 against the Bucs.
Yeah, he had a Slim Shady moment where he dyed his hair, and everyone thought he was just freaky and weird now. But man, he's kind of balled out recently. So I don't think he's as dead and buried as everyone thought he was.
And
I thought he was too.
Could get his college coach-esque style offense on there. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, when it's all said and done, might be the greatest collegiate coach to NFL coach that we've seen. Way better than Chip Kelly.
That's crazy.
Way better than Urban Meyer. And, I mean, better than Nick Saban.
Way better than Nick Saban.
Remember that one.
Yeah.
Who knows? Cliff Kingsbury that experiment is shaping out really well so far. And that offense is exciting, to say the least. At the least, they are exciting. But there we go. I have 5-1. The Chargers, Rams, Bills, Ravens, Cardinals. Alex over here, Cowboys, Rams, Bills, Ravens, Cardinals. And Bucs drop out. They're the most overrated team in the league still. But let's cap things off with the Nene of the week, Alex. And I got a couple. I actually have a special one here, because I felt like this needed to be stated. First off, I just want to say, any defensive coordinator in the league that has to go against Derrick Henry, you're going to get named, because
apologies in advance as well.
You can't stop him, man. You can only hope to contain him, and you can't contain him. He's just such a damn good
He's
player.
Nasty.
So good. But also, let's talk about, I don't know if you saw this, and I know some of you guys might miss this, but the fan attendance for the Titans game on Monday Night Football was 69,419. 19! We were so close.
Oh, boy.
We were so close. So I'm
tweeted
just saying,
that
the
out?
Titans crowd, the NFL fans, we got Nene, man. We got deprived of something that we deserve.
Oh, that's hilarious. Wait, who tweeted that out?
Oh, man, I have to find that real quick, because I mean, they deserve some credit for that. But can you imagine even getting that close for it to not go through? I think Emily Proud over on Twitter, 69,419 is announced attendance for tonight's game.
Good. I mean, really, really good for her.
That's great reporting.
That's great reporting. That is top tier journalism.
Mm-hmm. Adam Schefter, who? Dude.
We got Nene.
We got Nene, man. We deserve it. We don't deserve much. We deserve that. Whoever was that one person that didn't show up? I mean,
probably COVID. COVID screwed us.
Oh, man. If that's the answer. But whoever does, they deserve to be, the little bell and the shame walk through around. Let's go around the stadium in the parking lot next home game.
I agree.
Show your face. You deserve it. Oh, man. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it for our Week 6 NFL breakdown. Of course, a lot of the fun stuff here is Derrick Henry. He is the greatest running back of all time. I might be a little preemptive with that. We'll have to wait and see what you guys think. The Cardinals are still a really fun team to watch. The Niners should not trade for Odell Beckham Jr. And Carson Wentz should be in MVP conversation. No. Is he? No. Will he?
No.
Probably not. But it's always fun to speculate with that. And also, hey, Chicago. Aaron Rodgers. You can. That's PTSD for a lifetime right there. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking here until the end. We really do love you all. Alex, it's so great to have you back on. And I think we might be able to, at least a little more semi-regularly the rest of the season as well. So, you guys got a lot to be happy here. But Alex, if you could sum up, since you've been gone, man. What's that? Who sings that one song? Was that like April Lavigne? Yeah. But in 6 weeks in the NFL season, if you could describe it in one word or phrase, what would it be?
When you think you know everything, you know nothing.
Damn, that's some philosophy stuff right there. Okay. I wasn't expecting that, but I love it.
I'm telling you. Well, here's the problem with the NFL is every week you watch, you feel like you have 8 more questions about every single team that you just watched.
Yeah. There is more questions than answers this year, and we're going to end the season with 1,000 questions, and they're just never going to be answered. So I think it's best just to accept it now.
You're going to have one answer at the end of the year, and that is who's the best team in the NFL, and that's what all this is.
Alex, that's not even going to be answered. It's just it's going to be who won the Super Bowl.
Oh,
that's
boy,
the only thing we'll know for
no
sure.
answers. No answers.
Oh, I love it. But before we cap things off, of course, just want to give a huge shout out to our Patreon supporters. You can go check us out over at patreon.com/4thandlong. And for just $1 a month, you can support this amazing show, especially with the return of AK. And then with tiers, you can get a bunch of free stuff, discounts, bonus content. So like I said, patreon.com/4thandlong. And huge shout out to Ray Rodriguez. And for all your card collecting needs, go on over to Instagram and follow at the Big Bat Box. Shout out to Ryan Watson and Neil Wiley. And, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, like I said at the beginning of the show, not only, let me move away from the mic for a second, grab my shirt again. Not only do we have new merch introducing the Certified Banger collection in t-shirts and hoodies, by the way, because I know it's getting cold here. I mean, maybe not for you in California, Alex. It never feels.
It's getting a little chilly. It dipped below 71 for the first time today, so
it gone to the 30s for us here. Slightly different weather patterns.
Different gauges.
Different there. So we got that going on. So go on and check that out. That's thefourthandlong.com/apparel. And 2 huge fighters, 2 guys that are going to have championship gold around their waists in 2 years. Raymond Lawley, Jared Melton. Learn their names now. Go hear their stories now. Of course, you can check those interviews out at thefourthandlong.com/MMA. And for all of your NFL content here, that's thefourthandlong.com/ you guessed it, NFL. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining here. We can't wait to see all your amazing faces next week. And hey, he's back. You can expect him to be back a little more often. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one now.